Okay, before we dive into the meat of this specific course, I have to touch on this model that I use across all of my work with all my clients and all my courses. Everything comes back to this idea of that there are 7 elements of holistic health. Now you'll notice that 1, 2, and 3 are blinking. I feel like this course really encompasses those the most. But what is this 7 elements of holistic health? So, as a holistic women's health coach, pelvic floor therapist, I am never looking at just one aspect of how someone is doing, like what is their environment, or often we really get stuck on the physical body, especially in pelvic floor therapy or anytime someone's seeking out therapy. They think it's physical therapy, occupational therapy. They feel that it's very physical in nature, and it generally is. But if you're only looking at the physical, oftentimes you can get those symptoms to be better and improve, but they don't stay that way because you haven't looked at these other aspects. And so I give this model to you and this diagram to you for you to start to use this in your own life beyond this course in looking at when you're thinking about your health, that is, yes, the physical body, and yes, the mental brain, your mental health, but it's also your emotions, your heart. How do you feel? What are the prominent emotions in your day-to-day? Are they kind of dark? Are they all over the place? Are they really happy? That tells us a lot about our physical and mental health, just looking at the emotions. And then we have our spiritual health. That's our soul. The spiritual health is, your guidance system, your intuition. Energetic health, this is your engine, and you can look at this in 2 sides. I tend to blend it, but often we use that analogy of like, how full is your cup? If your cup's full, you have lots of bountiful energy. Your cup's run dry, you are got nothing left. That's one way to look at it. I think it's also good to look at just the energetics of how you feel energetically in your body. And this could be the meridians or the chakras system. I'm feeling really disconnected to my root chakra or my throat chakra. Whatever it is, you do not have to go there if that doesn't feel right to you. But these systems, these models for energetic health are really helpful in assessing how you are doing. Now, those are the 5 internal ones. 1 through 5 are all internal. 6 and 7 are external. So our environment, our outer world, this is all about, the spaces you spend time in and how they support or don't support your health. So think of like a really dark, gloomy office building with all the fluorescent lighting and cubicle. Probably not the healthiest environment for us. But then from a health perspective, okay, what are little things we could do to make it healthier? Maybe you can ask to be moved to a cubicle near a window, or maybe you can bring some plants in. Maybe you can remember to move around, or, we can enrich and improve even bad environments, but our environment impacts our health. The other important thing to think about here, and I always use this like plastic bottle versus like a reusable bottle analogy, is, the products we use, and are they supporting our health or detracting from our health? So clearly it's pretty common knowledge, and if it's not, I'm happy to share this with you, that drinking from a recyclable plastic bottle, just your standard cheap bottle, especially if it's been in a hot car for a period of time, and drinking that water is not great for your health. And it is preferable to be drinking from something that is metal and glass. So thinking about that, it's the products we use on our skin, the clothing we wear, everything we come in contact with, inhaling and touching and ingesting can impact our health. And last is our social health, our relationships. How we are interacting with the world and how we're receiving the interactions that come back. This relates a lot to communication, verbal and nonverbal. So as we go into aligning with birth, we are focusing today a lot on the physical, the mental, and the emotional aspects of your health. But it would be great to pause and reflect at the end of this class how what you learned today also is influencing your spiritual health, your energetic health, your environment, and your social.